honest, Annette, I'm just wanting everything to just kind of work out, you know? I want to get this court stuff over with. I just want it to be dismissed and settled.
Maybe. Mr. Newberger. Mr. Newberger.
Kendrick.
Hey,
Very nice to meet you. Kendrick Cross.
see you.
Good to see you. Thank you so much. Okay, gentlemen, I do want to thank you so much for your time today. I think it's best that we possibly settle some type of agreement before our hearing, which was what date again?
May 19th, yeah.
May 19th. I think we have a laundry list of harassment and evidence to prove that Bethany does in fact dislike my client and will do anything to harass him continually, which is causing him emotional distress. So I think that you and I both know that we have, like I said, a laundry list of evidence that we can prove that. So if we can just settle before that date, I think it would be to both of our advantages.
Look, you don't have a cause of action. We offered $5,000, or Bethany did without my permission. That was a gift. You rejected that. We withdrew that offer. It's withdrawn. Georgia does not have a tort of harassment. It doesn't exist. This is a no-nonsense judge we're in front of. You're not going to get past a directed verdict.
So, while I understand your position and I appreciate that, the gift would be signing a lease and being able to come to work unharmed and unharassed. That would be a gift, right? We've done what we were asked to do, and in return, he gets to come to work. That's not happening. So if we can prove that every single week she finds a reason to harass our client,
Well,
then I'm sure that we can get a
he
judge
broke
to
the
understand
rules.
that.
That he broke the rules that were directly listed in the lease.
And what rules were those?
Well, how about he built an office?
And what does that have to do with him being harassed?
She
doesn't-
was
That's
enforcing.
not harassment.
That would be a breach of contract, and of course, if that was a concern with you, I'm sure you would have found a way to get him out, but you didn't do that. He's still here. So we're just finding reasons at this point,
We
it
offered
seems
him
to
an
me.
Yeah, we offered him around, he
But he didn't
rejected
take
it.
Right, he rejected it, but of course, if that was your main concern, then you would have stayed there, right? You didn't. Next week, it's harassing his clients. Next week, the week after that, it's people in the parking lot. Every single week, there's something as it relates to
Listen,
Chase, and I don't understand
Your
why.
client is not coming into this case with clean hands. You are not gonna get past a directed verdict in this case. The jury ain't gonna get this case, and you know it, and you know it.
No, I know what I see is someone causing him to lose money on a daily basis.
Well, it's his own
And
doing.
because of that,
He doesn't come in with clean hands.
huh?
That's why I say you're not gonna get a directed verdict. Maybe he doesn't like the way that she does it. Well, that's okay. You don't have a cause of action for hurt feelings. It just doesn't exist.
Listen, we know for a fact that she's done this more than one time. It's
And
not
it's
my
not
client
just
that she's done it to.
Hurt feelings.
Your client doesn't have a cause of action for somebody else. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and just cross over the boundary of racism then. So we're gonna assume that there is no racism that comes into
Look,
play.
you're not gonna play the racism card.
But we are
It
going to play
doesn't
the
exist.
racism. It does exist.
What do you mean?
She has spoken to me.
You mean like you came into the parking lot and almost killed me with your car?
Well, that has nothing to do with
It's got nothing
racism.
to
You
do
were
with
just
race.
in the way. I didn't
Well,
attack you.
I recall the words referring to Bethany's husband as, "How dare you do that as a black man?"
What does that have to do with race? He understands the context of what I said that because he's a black man and I'm a black woman. But as a black woman being harassed by your white clients, that's what I'm saying. You always want to do a spinoff. Let's stay right here. Let's stay focused. She is a white woman and she attacks my black client, and as his black attorney, she has done the same thing to me.
Yeah.
There's proof.
I
of
don't
that.
think you've got a prayer that's you're going to show racism. And she's enforcing the rules for the safety and our contract with every other tenant in this building. Your client put them at risk. And we were enforcing the rules. You may not like the way she does it. You may not like her language. You may not like her demeanor. That's too bad.
That's
You don't have a
not
cause of action.
That's
There's
not
no
true.
such thing as a quarterback.
And if we take this to court, we're gonna get a lot more than what we're asking for.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
You guarantee me you're not going to get it to the jury?
Listen, why don't we just do this? How about we don't charge them attorney fees? $75,000, no attorney fees. Because
You're not
again, if
getting
we go to
attorney
court,
fees.
we're gonna get a lot more than that.
You're not getting attorney's fees. The only people who've been stubborn and litigious in this case are you.
That's not true. And you know,
What have we done?
what have we done?
Yeah, we're the defendants on here. We're not paying something that we don't owe.
We've lost business. There's an emotional distress. He's come to work disheveled. He's come to work always with high anxiety based on what's going to happen today. Have you ever had to come to work and work on eggshells just based on what your client decides and the manner that she wants to emotionally abuse someone today? Have you done that?
If you don't break the rules, you don't have that. You don't
Exactly.
have angst.
All
But-
she's
but I
doing
don't-
is
I don't
enforcing
hear-
the rules.
Tell me all the rules that have been broken.
We have an obligation to enforce the rules. The parking lot
You do have an
business.
obligation.
Listen,
Absolutely.
your client would be coming to me
Okay.
if one of the tenants came in and camped out in his office.
You're absolutely right.
You would expect me to come and remove. Same thing, why does Mr. Walker believe that he has a right to park cars in somebody else's space that they're paying rent for?
Well, that's an easy fix. That doesn't mean that you have to be harassed by it, but let's talk about harassment. So if somebody was parked in his office space, you're right, he would demand that person be removed. So then why does your client get to go in his office space without permission? And that's in the lease, and she's done that. That's harassment. She's in there. There's private documents there. She has access to that. She can falsify things. That's harassment.
She shows
We
up
have
every
a
time
right
he comes to work.
Reasonable inspection.
You do have a right, but there was no reasonable inspection at that time. There were no roaches, there were no leaks, there was nothing. There was no cause of action for her to be there, but she went.
How do you know that unless you go in and inspect?
Here we go. Okay, let me just notate that. How do you know that? Did you do it to everyone? That's how do we know that. Did you do it to the entire row? That's how we know that. Or were we the only ones being harassed that day?
Were any of your white
We did.
clients harassed?
Look, I'm not gonna listen. You know nothing about us. I think our entire history, our entire lives is going to defeat that claim. Doesn't exist.
Okay, well, I think we've had enough here. I think that's your position. I want to thank you gentlemen for your time today, and have a great day.
Yeah, we'll see you in court.
Gentlemen? Thank you.
Harvey, I'm so tired of this.